Good morning. My name is Trudy Cox, and I'm the director of the Preservation Society of Newport County. And today we are inside the Newport Mansions with a phenomenal guest, and that is Dr. Mathieu Deldicque. And he is coming to us all the way from France. Mathieu is the director and chief curator at the Musée Condé at Château Chantilly. He is an internationally recognized European art expert and heritage officer, and his resume is very impressive. And I'm going to go through it just to impress all of you who are listening. Prior to becoming the director at Chantilly in 2022, he served as the museum's curator in charge of 14th to 16th century paintings, prints, and drawings, and 15th to 19th century decorative arts. And he has curated many exhibitions. He's got a very important one going on right now, which you'll hear about later. He was also in charge of the national palaces and museums for the French Ministry of Culture. He has a PhD in art history from the University of Picardie, Amiens. Not a great French speaker, pardon me, Mathieu, if I haven't pronounced it correctly. He has a master's from the Sorbonne, and he has had so many fellowships and internships, both in Europe and in the United States, that there are too many to mention. He is also a member of the Preservation Society's International Council, which in fact is going to be going to Chantilly in about 2 weeks. And on top of that, Mathieu is coming to Newport on the 7th of November to attend and speak at the Newport Symposium, the topic being the French influence in Newport. So we are thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you. And let me ask you first to tell our listeners a little bit about what Chantilly is. Beautiful house, bigger than the Breakers, I think, but you should describe it to everybody who's listening today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Trudy, for this very kind words. It's a great pleasure to be with you. Chantilly is a dream place in France, 40 kilometers north of Paris. It's a resume of what French can provide in terms of excellency of gardens, extended gardens by André Lenôtre, the gardener of Versailles, a chateau with a museum inside, the second collection for all masters in France after the Louvre, a library with medieval manuscripts in a great number, big stables. The stables are bigger than the chateau itself, and all the estates, all the forests, 8,000 acres of lands and forests belonging to the chateau. This chateau was bequeathed to the French Academy, in a way, the Institut de France, so it's a public museum. And it was bequeathed by the Duc d'Aumale during the 19th century. He was the son of the last king in France. He inherited Chantilly. He was very rich and a great collector. And he purchased many treasures, and he wanted to open a museum after his death in 1897. And until then, it's a great museum. We have 600,000 visitors per year and a great program of exhibitions, concerts, flower shows, horse shows, and so on.
Well, you're comparable to the house that I'm sitting in front of right now. I think we've got about 600 visitors to the Breakers. Well, a little bit less than that, but comparability. I want to have you talk to a little bit about the bequest and when it came, because there are lots of restrictions on you as a museum director and as the head of a very important institution. And those restrictions make your life, I think, a little complicated. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
No, actually, it's not a complicated. It's a singularity, originality, and it's a challenge. In the testament of the Duc d'Aumale, it's forbidden to move the collection and to lend the collection. So our treasures of Raphael, of Michelangelo, Leonardo, of porcelains, furniture, drawings, manuscripts, nothing can't move, or nothing of the collection of the Duc d'Aumale can't move. So it's very particular, but in a way, it's a luck. It's a luck for the visitors. When they come to Chantilly, every treasure is on display. There's nothing away on exhibitions. And in other way, on the other side, actually, this drawback in a way, this restriction is not something that avoid any exhibitions here. Actually, we can borrow things, borrow works of art. So we organize 6 exhibitions per year of books, of paintings, of furniture, porcelains, lots of drawings. And we are very happy to welcome guests' works of art and not to lend the collection on the other side. Yeah.
Are you able to move things within Chantilly, or do they have to stand or hang in the same place as the time when it was left?
Temporarily for temporary exhibitions, we can't move, a painting that is on display very high in a painting gallery. We can move it and display in our exhibition space, but for a temporary time, obviously. Yeah.
I see. So that really is, I think, one of the allures then of going is really you're seeing it the way it was, and nothing much
Exactly.
has changed. And I think
Yes,
that's an important way.
it's like the Newport mansions. We provide an atmosphere. It's like the Duc d'Aumale has gone 2 days ago, and nothing has changed since his departure.
Right. We often talk about we want our houses to look the way that they looked when Cornelius Vanderbilt last walked out. So this is a little bit the same. When you look at you've had such an incredible career, and we could talk about preservation and art history, I think, for hours. But which came first for you? Your interest in art or your interest in historic properties and preservation of those properties?
Actually, I began with history because in school in France, you don't learn art history, you learn history. So I love Middle Ages, I loved 17th century, Louis XIV, great stories about French and European history. But little by little, when I began my studies, I realized that I loved history through places, through castles, through properties, and through objects. So this is the way, yes, I became a museum curator. So starting from history, from a narration to something more material with a property and with a collection.
That's really interesting. So would you consider yourself also bordering on being almost an architectural historian as well as an art historian?
In a way, yes. Actually, I like and love and like to work for museums inside historical properties
Mhm.
because there are many challenges about that, about, conservation, climate, the display, preservation of an authenticity. But I think that architecture and interior decoration provide more depth to the works of art. And that's why I'm very happy in Chantilly because the architecture is amazing, the collection also, but the mix of the both provides something more appealing.
Yeah. And you have the added bonus of lots of open space and beautiful gardens and stables. Do you have horses in the stables, by the way?
Yes, we have 40 horses, donkeys, ponies, and I'm also the director of the horse museum inside the stable. So I love that topic, and it's something very, families, children love horses. So we try to have a museum there more open to children, schools, and families.
And are you a rider? Do you get a chance every once in a while to go out and take a ride around those 8,000 acres?
Sometimes, but not often as I want, actually.
That's a real perk to your job. That's a real
Yes.
perk. So you have been at Chantilly for 10 years. And this is a very complicated time for museums in general, especially with COVID. What kinds of changes have you experienced? How have you changed operations? What have you learned that you didn't know 10 years ago?
My job became more digitalized. We, like now actually, we are more open to new technologies and new way to interact with the visitors actually. On internet, on social medias, and on with new tools, interactive tools. On the other on the other side, I realized during that time of 10 years that the public has changed. 10 years ago, the public loved great masters, great names, but now they want to have great experiences. And they wanted to, yes, to be like a prince in the castle, and not only to see great Nicolas Poussin painting or great Ingres painting or Delacroix painting. They want to have new experiences, new way of discovering and living actually the history and the history of art. Obviously, the world has changed, so we are more open to sponsorships, to have communities around us and networks around that, partnerships like we have with the Newport Society. So yes, time has changed, but sometimes for the good, sometimes not.
Yeah. And how did COVID hit you? Did you have to deal with the staffing? Did you close down? What were some of the challenges during that period? I'm always interested to hear some of the pains and woes of other directors.
Yeah, it was a complicated time because we had to close for many months. And as we don't have any public funding, actually our money can come from tickets and weddings and sponsorships. So we didn't have any income at that time. So we had to ask some help to the French state. And it was not an easy thing. We managed at the end, but yeah, it was quite stressful. And as soon as when we were able to open, we opened very quickly, quicker than other museums in France, because we wanted to have this contact with the public. It's our mission, it's our everyday life, and having no public at all in that big estate, it was yes, kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I think every museum in the world experienced that same thing.
Yeah.
You have hundreds of thousands of visitors a year, and you've got a variety of different types of people coming in, people who are real art connoisseurs, and then the general public who wants to see a magnificent house. What kind of what kind of programming do you provide to all those different segments of your tourism base? It's really so important.
Yeah. So our program now is very divided and diverse. For connoisseurs and specialists and art lovers, history lovers, we have exhibitions and ambitious exhibitions with loans, with big catalogs, with a scientific speech in these exhibitions, 6 exhibitions per year. For the general public, we have tours, different kind of tours, workshop, general tours or more special tours about, the art de vivre, so tableware and so on. And we have also another tour which is very popular. This is a private apartment tour, only with guided tours, and the general public like it because it's going inside the life of the Duke and the Duchess. And yes, we develop a lot of things for children, workshop, but also for the very, very general public who don't like, yes, it doesn't like, paintings or architecture. We have flower shows or concerts of house techno music shows in the gardens, and it's a way to approach our heritage, to approach the history, just to have this background of the chateau, even though you dance and listen music or you are buying flowers, you're not in you're in a special place actually, and people, yes, it's a way to attract them little by little to the chateau and to our mission, which is to communicate, to share the collections, the knowledge, the history.
You have a flower show, and I'm really interested in hearing more about that because we host and have been now for more than 25 years the Newport Flower Show, and it's held in the third week of June. And anyone who is listening to this show right now has probably visited because it's probably the signature event that starts off the summer. Everybody wants to go to the Newport Flower Show. So tell us about yours. I'm fascinated. I want to steal some of your ideas.
Yeah, so no, it's our flower show is a big one, actually. It's one of the biggest in continental Europe. We have 200 dealers of flowers and very special and chosen dealers by a jury in the garden, in the English garden. So it's it's twice a year in October, because in autumn you plant the flowers, and in May because it's spring and it's very colorful. It's 3 days at each time, and we have some things like between 20 and 30,000 visitors for each session.
And are there exhibitions at the flower? Because our flower show has a marketplace where you can buy flowers and plants along with clothes and jewelry. And then another part of our flower show is garden clubs and designers creating exhibitions, floral arrangements. And then there are some really big, outstanding arrangements or exhibitions that are done using flowers and really very professionally done. So this combination, I think, is attractive to the public. Does yours have the design side of things?
Not so much. Few places in the gardens are just for visiting and display with designers, landscape designer, and so on, but it's not the major part of it. Actually, the dealers are chosen, and the dealers are we select the dealers to be like, how do you call that? It's like a way of displaying flowers in their different dealing points. So there's no exhibition, but the dealers are so impressive, so ambitious. So you can buy the plants and flowers, but it's as you buy in an exhibition.
I see. That's a really interesting idea. And in May, you're having as many as 20 to 30,000 people. So
Yeah. May is more popular than autumn, but so in May it's like 30,000 visitors, and in October 20,000 visitors.
yeah. And that's one of the ways you make money, I suspect.
It's one of the many ways we try to get money. Yeah.
Yeah. And then throughout the summer, you're having musical concerts and all sorts of music or
So for the Feast of Music in June, we have a big techno concert with 10,000 young people dancing in the French gardens, in the alley, not in the lawns, on the lawns, which is very popular actually. But otherwise, we have 4 weekends per year. Classical music concerts inside the chateau and inside the stables, because they are very large. It began to, yes, it's beginning to be quite a successful program. And through the vacations, we have some musicians during parties or special events, playing music, but just three or three musicians, yeah, two or three musicians playing inside the chateau for the museum night, for Christmas, for Easter, and so on.
Uh-huh. Well, that really sounds fantastic. And then are there educational programs, lectures, symposia, conferences that you conduct? I want to
Not
come and visit, obviously.
Yeah, I
Up
mean,
there.
not so much because we don't have space. It's a very old chateau, coming from Middle Ages and transform during the 19th century. So we don't have any auditorium or special place. So we try sometimes to have a conference in the big painting gallery, but when it's close to the public. So it's not something I develop because we have so many different programs and projects. Or if we do symposium, it's more with other partners, so outside Chantilly.
So you mentioned before the show, you are doing a major conference in Amsterdam, did you say, or the
Yeah, in
Netherlands?
Nijmegen, in Netherlands, yes, with partners. Yes, we try to do that with partnerships. We last year it was with Versailles and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one that's coming up in the Amsterdam, what is that going to be focused on?
So it's about the manuscripts of the Très riches heures du Duc de Berry, these very famous manuscripts, which was illuminated at the beginning of the 15th century by two Dutch illuminators coming from Nijmegen in the Netherlands. And we are doing that symposium in Nijmegen, the city where the illuminators, the artists, were born.
And in that particular case, would you be able to take things? You cannot take things with you because of the bequest.
I take myself
And a few very good
and
pictures.
and great pictures, and yes, and then we invite people to come. So all the Dutch visitors to this symposium will come just after the symposium to Chantilly to a visit and to exchange with us. Yeah.
So we are experimenting here in Newport, Mathieu, and you'll hear about this when we get together in a few weeks,
Yeah.
with the use of technology in one of our houses at the Elms. It turns out to be a much harder project than I ever thought it was going to be. But using light, smell, sensations, and if we make it work, and we're still not there yet, it will be really one of the first historic house museums to depart from the traditional guided tour. Are
Yeah.
you using technology within the house in any particular way? And can you tell us, again, I'm going to steal some ideas. I hope.
Yeah. So we had totally new project that we launched last year with snapshots. So we have a very, very long table inside the chateau, 19th century, of the Duc de Mal, where every royals like the Empress Elizabeth of Austria and so on had lunch or dinner. This very long table had plates and silverware and glasses and so on, and we have the menus, but nothing on the plates, obviously, because it's not something that is conserved. So we worked with snapshot, and with a snapshot filter, when you with your phone, you can take a photo of the plate, the empty plate, and the meal of the Duc de Mal appears on snapshots. And we worked with a chef who recreated the meals of the 19th century thanks to the menus we have in the archives. And so it's very fun, and lots of young people try this snapshot filter just to learn how we had dinner and what we ate during the 19th century.
Oh, I love that idea. And is it several different courses of the meal or just one?
Yes.
Oh, so you could stand next to your brother or sister and he or she is seeing something different than what you are seeing.
Yeah, so we have the first course, second course, desserts, and so it's quite a very rare technology. So we had to digitalize the meals made by the chef, and he had to appear on a real plate. So we had only three options, but it's quite fun, and it's a way of, yes, entering into the 19th century.
Right, and engaging. So I'm very interested because your concerts are techno music concerts. So you're deliberatively promoting music that maybe our grandparents don't want to listen to, but one segment of the population does, and that is by design.
Yeah, and we say to the group, we say to the grandparents to come for the classical music concert if they prefer. Yeah, it's the main thing is the choice, I think.
Right, yeah. And are you seeing an increase in the number of visitors to Chantilly, the younger crowd? Because that, I think, is what American museums are terribly concerned about now. Will the next generation be as interested? What do we do to keep younger people engaged?
Yeah, that's right. It's the same challenge here. Obviously, retired people have time and have money, so they come. But we try to promote new ways of visiting and new tools, uh, just to say to young people, this is your chateau, this is your place, this is your heritage, your past, and please, you're welcome. And yes, you can come as you are. If you have no knowledge at all, we can try. We can help you. And what you like as a place here, like techno music. Obviously, never want to change and transform the chateau into a warehouse for techno music, but once a year, it's a good way of seeing the chateau from another point of view.
Yeah. You came to the United States, which is when we first met, and you did a whole tour of American museums. And I can't remember the purpose, but you can tell us. You were trying to learn more. What were some of the takeaways from your American experience, Mathieu?
When I came, so I visited the southern historical properties in Louisiana, in Charleston, in Savannah, and then in Newport and in the Hudson Valley. And I wanted to, because actually in Europe, we usually speak a lot about museums, American museums, what the Met, what Chicago, what the Getty do. But I didn't know what the historical properties did in terms of interpretation, preservation, economical life also. So it was a real discovery for me, just to see how dynamic this topic is in the East Coast. But in other sides, I wanted to maybe to improve the interpretation in Chantilly and to have new ideas, new perspective. And yes, I discovered lots and lots of different options, from guided tours to new narratives, new interests. And obviously, Newport was the climax of that trip, because you have so many different challenges and different new solutions.
Right. And of the, I don't know if you saw all of our houses, but can you comment on the ones that really left an impression?
It's difficult to say because every house has a new way. I was struck to see, because it was near Halloween time. Halloween was a big time for all the houses, and that yes, was one of the highlights of the year in terms of decoration, interpretation, and so on. So I remember that very well. And I was amazed of the preservation of the place, actually,
Yeah.
how it was. And I can say that it's not the case everywhere in America, like in Newport, or everywhere in France, like in Newport. So yeah, it was very it was a great surprise and yeah, something very, very strong.
Yeah, well, we spend, as you probably do, we spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
People think we're rich, but our expenses are huge,
yeah,
as you know.
yeah,
And so every bit of money that we raise or earn through ticket sales goes
yeah,
right back into the houses. And, if you don't do it, they're not going to be here in 10 or 15 or 20 years. So you
yeah.
don't have a choice about it. Um, Halloween, I don't know. Do you all celebrate Halloween in France?
So a bit. Actually, we for 3 years now, we develop a new program for Halloween. It's during evenings. So we light off every light in the chateau, and every visitor has a torch. And we have a guided tour with some comedians, and we speak about horror stories related to our history and to the collection. And it's very, very popular. But we are the only one who do that. And we try to, yes, to develop that period of time for the program for the year because it's another way of discovering the collection and the place.
That's a fascinating idea. That's a really great idea. Mathieu, did you have any impressions? We have visited the Hudson Valley on a number of occasions, and
Yeah.
and beautiful houses. A lot of Newport families in that
Mm.
area as well as in Newport. But you really do see what money can do. I think we have a little bit more help from many Newporters who are listening to this show and from others. What can happen to really beautiful buildings if you're not investing in the maintenance of them? And that was my impression going to the Hudson Valley and saying, wow, we are doing so well. Did you have
That's
that feeling too?
I do agree, totally agree. Actually, it was the last part of my trip. It was just after Newport, and I saw the difference. Discovery the two areas. How you manage Newport and you maintain and you develop and you promote and even internationally. And on the other side, on the contrary, actually, you in the Hudson Valley, great mansions, same family in a way, but not the support, not the dynamic, and it was a bit sad, I have to say.
Yeah. So obviously, for those who are listening, historic preservation is really important. It's all about the heritage of our countries. And so if you're hesitating, jump in and support because that's the way that we keep places like Chantilly and all the places in Newport in good, healthy shape. Um, Enough said. Do you think there were any Newport families or even Gilded Age families that came to Chantilly during the Gilded Year Belle Epoque, the Gilded Age era? What kind of back and forth do you think there might have been?
Actually, there were many, many, and it's a new discovery, and I will share it during the symposium. I discovered that the Vanderbilt came just before building Marble House, and they came with Richard Morris Hunt to see the Duc de Mal, to see Chantilly newly rebuilt, because Chantilly was destroyed partly during the French Revolution and rebuilt at the end of the 19th century. And just before building Marble House, they came here, they exchanged. We have on the agenda of the Duc de Mal, we have the name of the Vanderbilts, of Richard Morris Hunt, and they share visits, ideas, and they share some suppliers. For instance, for the fabric on the walls, Parisian ones, actually, there was the same in Chantilly and in few mansions of Newport, including Marble House. So it's totally new. Nobody knows about that, and I just discovered few days and weeks ago in our archive and still working on it because it's I'm passionate about that
Yeah.
that linked connection between great families in two continents.
Was it William Vanderbilt? Who was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. With
And his wife,
and Alba and
yeah, two of them.
Wow.
And they came with George Vanderbilt, who built Biltmore,
Yeah.
and they came with Richard Morris Hunt.
So they came before Marble House had been built. So they were coming looking for inspiration and ideas, I guess.
I
Maybe.
guess so. Actually, the archives don't say about that, don't tell us about that, but the date is very important because it's just before the building of Marble House.
Wow, well, that's going to be a very popular story. And what other points are you going to try to make in the for the Newport Symposium? And I do hope that people who are listening to this show will go to our website and consider joining us on November 7th and 8th. The Newport Symposium is a great gathering of really valued and important historians. It's not dull. It is really fun. And Mathieu is going to be one of the speakers. So tell us a little bit about your topic.
Actually, I think that usually in Newport, and this is true, you speak about the inspiration of old chateau, old French chateau of Renaissance, of Louis XIV's time, and so on. And I want to explain that new chateaus in France, new chateaux during the 19th century provide another inspiration, such as Chantilly, which was a new chateau during that time. And they exchange ideas, and they faced at the time the same challenges. The Vanderbilt and Duc de Mal had same ambitions, same taste, and same challenging. So that's something I would try to study and to share.
Yeah, and are you going to be touching on connections between the Breakers and Chantilly, or Marble House and Chantilly, or any of the other houses that we have?
Yeah, mostly Marble House and a bit the Breakers.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. I really look forward to hearing you then. And then for those of us who have the wonderful opportunity to come and see you in a few weeks, we don't have a lot of your time. So so people who go to Chantilly and don't have a lot of time, what do you focus their attention on? What's the most important thing you want them to see before leaving?
You have to come inside the chateau to see the collection, because it's not only a chateau, it's a real fine arts museum of one collection, the Duc d'Aumale collection inside the chateau, and the second collection in France for our masters after the Louvre. So inside the chateau to see the paintings collection, to see the library, see the second library in France, and to see the 18th century apartments. And then a little tour inside in the garden, to see 17th century, 18th century garden, to eat some cream, Chantilly cream, because the most delicious one is made here.
Yeah.
And just to finish with the stables, to see maybe a horse show if they had time, or to see the horses inside the 18th century big nave. It's like a cathedral, and to see the horse museum, which is very, very fun.
You have an exhibition going on right now. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? It's not going to be up for much longer, I don't think.
Yeah, this is the end of the exhibition.
Yeah, if people are heading to France, they've got to go to Chantilly and see this exhibit. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we have lots of works in storage here, drawings, manuscripts, books, and so on. And maybe the most precious piece, the most reproduced and famous piece, is the manuscript of the Très Riches du Duc de Berry. This is a book of hours of the late Middle Ages, 15th century, and it was reproduced everywhere. For instance, Walt Disney, when he designed the castle of Sleeping Beauty and the castle of Disneyland, actually, he took inspiration in the Très Riches du Duc de Berry. So the calendar is very famous, and it's the opportunity, the exhibition provides the opportunity to see all the calendars unbound, because the manuscript is going to be restored.
When was Chantilly built, and who was the architect, or were there many architects?
Many architects, because it's began in the 14th century until the 19th century, so 5 centuries of work.
Right.
So every century provide a new architect, a new project. The last one with the Duc de Mal is Honoré Domé. He's not very famous because he spent his time here doing that for 20 years. It was a real challenge, and he created a 16th century style chateau of the 19th century. And that's why it's very close to some chateau properties in Newport on 16th century style, but of the 19th or early 20th century.
I see, but the oldest part of the building is from when?
From the 16th century.
Okay.
Made for the constable of François Ier, so the chief of the army, and so it's mid-16th century, and the architect was Jean Bulan, so French Renaissance, antique style, this is the oldest part which survives the French Revolution.
So here you are, a young museum leader, Mathieu, and in a very important role in Europe. What do you see as the greatest challenges to preservation and to museums over the next few years? It's something that we talk a lot about here in Newport, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
There's 3 challenges for me. The first one is the public fundings is decreasing a lot for everyone. Right. Even for national museum. We are not national, we are not depending on the Ministry of Culture, so we don't have so much public funding, but all my colleagues, this is the main concern because of the debts, the crisis of the debts of European countries. So this is something we have to face, decreasing of public funding. So we have to do like you, so to do sponsorship, to raise money. Other kind of money. The second challenge for us is to interest the new generation. Yep. The millennial or the Gen Z generation who like, the screens and not the real objects or properties. So we have to think about new solutions to attract them. And the third one is the climate change. Because we have forests, we have gardens, the chateau is in the middle of waters. So if the level of waters decrease or is higher, we will have some strong issues. Many challenges, but we are ambitious and we will face them.
Well, I think that Chantilly is under good hands with your leadership. I think you've summarized the same exact problems that we're concerned about. I have a lot of faith in you. And I thank you so very much for not only taking the time today, but coming to Newport in a few weeks at the beginning of November for the Newport Symposium, and for hosting our International Council when they meet in Paris. So thank you very, very much.
And it will be my great pleasure. Thank